Hi, I'm Charlotte and this is Tired Mama Tries to Read, back with my stats video. The stats I wish I'd never done because some of them are really scary. The year stats are really fine. So all in all, I have read about 70 books, but when I broke down these stats a couple of weeks ago, I'd only read 67, and then I crammed in a few more just after Christmas. So we're going to go with the 67-ish number just because I can't be bothered to work it out all over again. Out of the 67, 39 were fiction and 28 were non-fiction. If some of these don't add up, please don't add these up. Because I was just looking at them earlier thinking, does that add to 67? So that's not a bad balance. You know, that's more fiction than non-fiction, which I'm actually surprised at because I feel like I've read a ton of non-fiction. And I can tell you something, I've bought way more non-fiction than fiction this year. I don't know why I feel really drawn to answers. It might be something about the state of the world, I don't know. Women have been very present. I've read 53 books by women and only 14 by men. I've read one book by a non-binary identifying person. 10 of the books that I've read have been written by women of colour, and 13 of the books I've read have been either written by or concerned with LGBT issues, or written by an LGBT identifying author. So I feel like that's a fairly good list. One thing I didn't look up was how many I'd read in translation, and I don't actually think it's that many. Convenience Store Woman comes to mind. Is Pachinko translated? I don't know, looking around for it. So yeah, I maybe need to up that. It's not something necessarily that's interested me before, but it interests me now, and I don't know why it didn't interest me before. So if we go back up to the 70 list of 70 books that I've read this year, because that is where I was at when I was doing my other sums, I know, it's confusing. 59 of those books were new books, so books that I bought in the last year and a half. What I did was I went along my shelves and counted every book I own in my house. I completely forgot about the shed, more on that later. And then I went round and counted all the books that I consider to be new since I started BookTube. So they're either a year or a year and a half old. And then I tried to work out how many of those new books that I've brought into my home have I actually read. So 59 of the 70 books were new and 11 were backlist. And it's a lose-lose situation really, because I want to have read loads of new books because then it justifies how many I'm buying. But I also want to be reading my backlist because I've got so much of a backlist. I think last year we established after my stats that I've got 25% read and 75% unread on my shelves, and I had about 850 books to my recollection. That figure has changed, and I'm actually surprised it hasn't changed more. Instead of 850 books, I now own 984. So we are really close to that tipping point of 1,000, and it took a lot of work for me to get down from about 3,000 to 850. So that wasn't through reading, by the way, that was through passing them on and finally realizing I wasn't going to read all of those books on time travel or, you know, various other things that I had. So yeah, 984 books owned, not accounting for the ones in my shed. I missed them out. I think there's about 20 in here altogether. I'm not going to feel too bad about it because in the bookshop, when you did a stock take, you had to sticker everything. Like a shelf like this would have a sticker, a chair would have, everything would have a sticker. And then come stock take night, everything had to, even if there was nothing on that shelf anymore, you had to scan it. I can guarantee you that the next week we would find a box of books, a shelf of books, a chair of books, whatever, that we had forgotten to sticker. So this is my unstickered area, and I, you know, what can you do? So 984, give or take, owned. 282 of those have been read, so that's 29%. So in a year I've increased my 25 to 29, which isn't great. I was aiming for, I think I was aiming for 35. I'm pretty sure that's what I said, and I think I've gotten away with things because I've given so many away, so I don't really think this is a completely accurate figure. The new titles, I've got 242 new books. I almost wasn't going to say that in this video because apart from anything else, it just sounds astronomically wasteful to have bought that. I don't know how they've come into the home. I'd say 50 of them are gifts. Let's just say 50 are gifts, and let's also take 50 off. And you're probably thinking, wow, you've got a lot of friends to give you 50 gifts, but I only ask for books for anything really. So I'll get quite a few books for Christmas, birthday, Valentine's, that sort of thing. let's take away another 50 because they were from last year, really. Because like I say, I just counted the ones that were new to like BookTube era. So that's 150. That's still a lot. I don't know how it's happened. I feel like there's been some kind of miscount. We'll just chalk that up to a miscount. 59 of those I've read, as I've said. Oh dear. Yeah. So I did all of my shelves, and there's not much variation really. I've read 29% of my fiction. I've read 46% of my poetry, and I've read 24% of my non-fiction. So what I'm kind of taking, we put that down, get rid of it, never look at it again. What I'm taking from those stats is that I need to stop buying books, and I need to read more of the books I've got. And that seems so simple. Why am I not doing that? I'm doing Non-Spend January. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Me and Sean are doing it, supposedly. I have bought some crystals, but that was an accident. But I'm definitely not bought any books, so I'm going to try not to buy any, and then I'm really going to try hard to stick to the library. I'm running really low on time because this video has taken about 10 attempts to film, but I will come back to you with a more detailed New Year's resolution video, maybe when I do my Hello January vlog, which will probably be my goodbye January wrap up. I don't know, it's taking me a long time to film these days. So yes, let me know what your stats are. Let me know how many books in your home are not read. Tell me, please do, if you've bought into more new books than I have, because that will make me feel better. I'll try and aim to tone it down for 2020. But actually I'm going to be filming my book haul for December soon. So you'll see all the ones I've had, and then that will sort of hopefully, fill that void for the next few months, and I can just focus on reading. Okay. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.